Well, hello everybody. This is Dave the Rave roving the rock, or Dave the Rover raving on the rock, whatever you want to say there. I'm sitting in the centre of Whiting Bay in my car, and I'm just about to set off for a run with my friend Gordon Allsop on the other side of the island. And the reason I'm sitting here, first of all, is just because I'll make this motorbike to go past. I'm right in the centre of the village, by the way, at the roadside, so this is where all the traffic is and all the shops and everything. It's like the busiest place. I'm here because really I wanted to just point out one thing about island living, and that is when you leave, you've really only got two choices which direction you go. I'm going to Blackwaterfoot from Whiting Bay, and if you look that up on the map, I can go north through Brodick and across the String Road, or I can go south, which is, I'll just turn around here actually, south, which takes me past Kildonan and Kilmorian Lag and then up to Blackwaterfoot, and that's roughly about the same amount of time. It's probably slightly slower from round the south end than it is round the going north. It's less far, but the road's more windy and twisty and things like that, and going north you've got a much faster road. But then again, it's kind of more scenic sometimes round the south, so it's a choice you've got to make. But my point is really, you only have left or right. So I am sitting here and I'm looking at the shops across the road from me, and I can go left or right, and that's really it, because in front of me is the sea. Poke around here, through there, and behind me is the hills, and that's quite a usual thing if you're living on an island. You know, you've got the hills behind you and the sea in front of you. That's normal really. So you don't have the choices that people have in that respect, and sometimes a lack of choices could be a good thing. Because if you think about television channels, I've heard of people having more than 1,000 channels now, and I mean, I think it could take you the whole afternoon just to even flip through them. To some extent, I actually really think it might have been better when there was just 3. You know, when I was brought up, it was 3 channels, and sometimes no channels. You know, do God Save the Queen at the end of the night, but was it 10:30 at night or something about there? Like in a bedtime, and then you get the little caption, and with the girl holding a little toy, and it would just go beep, and that was the end of the telly. So sometimes, oh, it's Jamie. Somebody's saying hello to me. Somebody driving past that I work with, Jamie White, and so it makes it easier sometimes not having the choices, and I've only got left or right in this case. My decision, I think, is going to be to do both. So I'm going to go north, and I'm going to stop at the top of the String Road, I think, and just get the view, and then once I get there and come back, I'll come back round the south just for a change of scenery. You know, so just to see if there's anything that I have, rather than come back the exact same way. So there you go, that's my point really for today. I'm grateful for the hills that are behind Whiting Bay, because it keeps us very sheltered. You know, the wind usually comes over those hills, and it doesn't really hit Whiting Bay, it hits the sea way out in front of us, half a mile out maybe, so we tend to get very sheltered, and today's a good example. There's really no wind out there, and yet I can hear it on the sea. I can hear the sea bashing about. I know it's breezy today, but there's really nothing here. It's very nice. Okay, right, I better head off. So I'll see you, I think, at the top of the String Road is where I'm going to stop just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll go and see Gordon in Blackwaterfoot. Cheers. Okay, here I am now at the top of the String Road. I'm looking back down towards Brodick and Glen Sherrig and Glen Rosa, and the castle and Cladach beyond that, and then the mainland over the sea. I wasn't sure what kind of view you get, because you don't really know what you're going to get till you get up here. The weather can be quite different on top of this hill than it is down at the bottom at the shore. but it's a good view. You can't really see the mainland, but you can see all of the valley and across to the sea. I'm holding a camera in my hand, so I'll just have a wee look down there. There we go. That's not bad today. It's a lovely little valley, Glen Sherrig down there, very relaxing, almost a dead end, although there's a road that goes through it and back up onto the string. It's more of a kind of a track. I don't suppose you get much passing traffic through there, so that's a really nice place to go. In fact, the very last run I went on was with Gordon, and we went just exactly there, down that wee valley there. So that was nice. That is me looking back down the hill. A couple of cars going past here. Beside me are more hills just kind of exposed. Kind of looks like kind of high, kind of moorland, I suppose you'd call it. Really just rough grazing ground, and behind that you can just see the mountains popping up behind the kind of hill in front of me, just poking up, slightly obscured by the clouds, so you can't quite see how high they go, but that's the main kind of mountain range in there. And then in front of me, of course, go back in a car, is the very top of the hill. And also, if I shut the door, the warmth of the car, which is quite a nice thing, because it's a lot colder up here than it is down at the shore, and I can feel that just as soon as I stepped out the car. And it's a lot windier, of course, up here. So that's anyway, that's the road that I'm following right in front of me there, and I'm on my way to Blackwaterfoot, so I better get on with it or I'll be late. Okie dokie.
I like the way it's brown. Out to about brown. What, 100 metres, and then it turns a different colour.
It does. Right, right, Gordon and I are in the car at Blackwaterfoot Beach, right beside Blackwaterfoot Golf Course and Golf Club, and we have got a stunning view in front of us, which Gordon was just pointing out, of the sea. A noisy sea, a different sea from what I've got in Whiting Bay, and I imagine a different sea from what you've got in Sannox as well.
Yes.
Because this is the Atlantic, really, isn't it? This is the kind of Atlantic sea kind of thing, the west-facing sea.
Well, and the wind is coming from the west.
Gets blasted.
So we're getting blasted, yeah.
And I like it, I have to say. I'm actually going to, we're in the car. We're not outside, but I'm just going to kind of point the Merpodio phone here towards the sea, just to get the noise of it. And white horses everywhere, all along. I mean, if we do nothing else today, this bit here, this is just fantastic, isn't it? To be so close to the sea. How far is it? 15 feet from the car?
Good for surfing.
Good for surfing, yeah. We'll have to ask. Is it Glenn Floss when we do supping? Paddle boarding, that's it. He'd like that, wouldn't he? Supping.
Not beer.
No, not a supping beer. Oh, doggy. Oh, doggy. Right, so this white water all the way across there. I mean, that's just stunning. I wasn't planning on even talking about that, but I'm really quite taken aback with this. This is just gorgeous, isn't it? Maybe we shouldn't really run anywhere. Just sit and look at this.
I know, it's going to be windy.
It's going to be windy, which it wasn't where I started from Whiting Bay. It was nice and calm. Anyway, talking about windy, I'll turn the camera back round to us now. And we'll talk about what we did in our run about 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? We were in Lochranza, sheltering from the storm, and meant to be having a nice calm run, and then we got caught in a tornado. And we reckon it was the outer edge of the tornado, don't we now?
Well, probably at a guess, because I think if we'd been in the middle of it, we could have been whisked away like a tree.
I think so.
Yes. So,
you and I were talking to a lady, we've been on one run since then, and we came across a lady in Glen Rosa, and she was talking about it. She lives right where it hit, and the damage was worse, slightly further down the track than where we were, but we were hiding from it, which I've never done in my life. And she confirmed that there were 3 houses further down the track where everything was taken down, all the poles, trees, everything, and the track was ripped up.
Yeah.
And I've since spoken to a woman who was hiding in her lounge because she thought a conservatory was just going to get lifted away, and also another man who lives up on the track, and he said every single pole and tree was down where he was as well. So that was an actual tornado, and also the woman in the conservatory saw it swirling as a tornado does. So she confirmed it was a real tornado. She was watching it. So we were like lucky or unlucky, depending on how you see it. Because
lucky.
Lucky. I don't know why. I'm going for unlucky, but lucky. I wish I was unlucky actually, because I would have liked to have been lucky to be in it, but unlucky not to be even more in it, assuming we survived. You know, assuming we didn't, as I was saying on that run, it wasn't an undertaking to the undertaker. Because actually, it could have been, if we'd been right in the middle of that tornado that time, it was worse.
Yeah.
It really could have, it would have taken us away, wouldn't it? Because we were thinking It might have done that where we were.
It could have taken us away if a tree hadn't landed on us, and then we wouldn't have been able to go anywhere.
You wouldn't hide behind a tree. Yeah. I don't know what you would hide behind if trees are coming down.
The tree's gone, the poles are gone, so it didn't leave a lot left to hide behind.
It didn't.
Fences, I suppose, as well.
Well, we were hiding behind a fence, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that held, so that was okay. But anyway, so this time we're aiming not to be in a tornado. We're not expecting to be in a tornado, although it is windier than we expected. Why did we choose to come here? Gordon, because you chose it.
Just thought it'd be nice to come to the other side of the island, because we've both got lots of time today, I think, being off work and stuff.
Change the scenery.
And yeah, it's a nice loop, because you've got the golf course, you've got the King's Caves, you've got a bit of forestry, we're going to be running back along that beach.
Yep.
You've got Drumadoon Point running along under the cliffs.
That would be nice.
So
that's
a
amazing.
good mixture, and it's probably about near 10k, so that's not too long.
Okay, that's good. That's good for us. None too shabby.
Yep.
As they say. And it's a circular route, and that's the thing I like about it.
Sort of circular.
Sort of.
A wee out and back with a wee circle.
Yeah. Because just like dogs, they're the same as us. Nobody likes to go out and back. Even in running races, nobody likes them if you go back the same way you came. It's like just a toil, isn't it? You could do the same circle 300 times and it would still be more pleasant than an out and back, wouldn't it? So that's what I like about it. Is it going to be good underfoot?
The only bit I would be concerned about is you got up over from the golf course over to behind Drumadoon and that path there. It can be a bit boggy.
A bog?
But nothing like
Quagfest.
What was that? Glen Cloy.
Which was a Quagfest.
Which was nothing like that.
That's worse. That's one step up from a bogfest, isn't it? A Quagfest.
You've got your good shoes for that today.
I've got my toughest shoes on. My toughest shoes because of the last run, which was a step up from Bogfest, which was a Quagfest. A Quagmire Fest.
You're lucky your shoes are mud colour, so you've...
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the right colour.
They're the right colour.
So that's that. We better get through this because we're going to run out of time. Clothing choices today?
2 layers.
Yeah, I've got 3
Because I think actually my car said 11 degrees, so it's not cold, but obviously it's going to be windy, so I think, because...
Leggings as well.
Warm. Leggings,
both got leggings on. And trail shoes. Pretty similar.
Trail shoes, yeah.
And you've got a
hat
coffee.
And gloves. I've got a coffee because I was prepared.
I wasn't. I've got hat and gloves though. I've got that as well. And
gloves.
I've got torches so that we can, because we're going to King's Cave in Blackwaterfoot, that's where we're running, and I'm hoping to see inside it and see the little carvings and things inside it, and I've got a couple of torches, so that's part of my equipment today as well.
And maybe a few spiders.
And maybe a few spiders, like Robert the Bruce before us. Maybe even, yes, that's right, a descendant of that spider. That's what I'm hoping for. Could be a descendant.
Might be.
I've got to mention, in case we run out of time, I want to mention this because he's my favourite comedian in the world. It was Billy Connolly's birthday 3 days ago, and he was 80.
Right.
He's the funniest man I've just ever seen, and he came to Arran quite a lot of times, and actually performed here and things, and he's well known here. I used to play music as well with some of the people, I could name them. So happy birthday Billy Connolly from 3 days ago, happy 80th. Alongside that, I would say my big sister turned 60 today.
All right.
And that is Lindis Davidson, who lives in Ardrishig, with her husband Alan. So enjoy your bus pass there. I don't know if people get bus passes in other parts of the world.
Yes.
That's what you get here.
You should, yeah.
That's how you get your bus pass, and you get free travel on the buses and very cheap travel and other things, and you get lots of benefits. Even in your cranny you get cheap membership, don't you?
Yep, cheap membership.
Which I've all made
Cheap
the most
pass, day pass, cheap day pass.
Yep. I'll just turn this wee camera back round to the sea. The sea's just incredible. I'm loving this. I've left the car window open just to get it.
I like the two shades.
Yeah.
The brown, and then
near and then the.
What do you call that?
It's like a line across the way.
To quasi grey, sort of.
Yeah.
Greeny, bluey.
It's like it just changes colour in a line, doesn't it? It's grey and then a brown and then it's grey. And I've seen that before. I think it's a sediment come out of rivers and
things.
things.
I'm no expert, but it might be that's where the sand kind of, I don't know,
turns up.
It's shallow and then it finishes, it goes deeper, or...
I mean, you can see it's a distinct line.
Guesstimate.
It just stops. I've seen it in Brodick as well before. It just stops and goes a different colour. Anyway, talking about Billy Connolly, I've got two wee sayings from Billy Connolly here. And one of them is, never trust a man who, when left alone with a tea cosy, doesn't try it on. I think that's fair.
Okay.
I would try a tea cosy on if I was left alone with one. The other thing is, he doesn't know what the point is in learning anything to do with algebra because he's never going to go there. You get that? Get it? You get it? And the last one was Ali McLeod, who was the Scotland manager, who famously we did very badly in '78 World Cup. He said Ali McLeod thinks that tactics are a new kind of mint. Tactics, get it?
Yeah.
Get it? You see?
Get it? Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Get it?
Oh, you get it. I'll turn back right there.
That's about it.
Okay.
Those big waves there, look.
Oh.
That side. The biggies there, look.
Yeah. Just battering off those
It's
rocks.
if you were surfing there, you'd slam into that big rock. That's the only...
It's quite wild, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, so the only other thing I was going to talk about, things that have been happening on Arran the last little while. I'll just spend a couple of minutes on this because I think I've felt a bit more isolated lately because of a few things. There's a postal strike on Jura and Isla. In fact, all the post people resigned, apart from just went striking, and now they've only got 3 post people left and they've hardly got any post. And that makes you realise that you're dependent on things. And we've had postal strikes here, of course, and not as severe because they haven't had the same amount of changes as on Isla. Boat times are different. They're getting put onto back shift on Isla. We didn't like it. So they resigned, most of them. But we've also had shortages of fuel.
Yep, I was in that queue.
Massive queue.
Massive queue for fuel the other week.
Yeah, and sometimes we've just not been able to get fuel at all because there's no storage facilities anymore in Arran, and then the tanker's relying on the ferry, and the ferry of course has been disrupted more lately because the weather's been worse.
A shark!
Out in the sea.
No,
We're
it's
looking
not
at
a
something
shark.
out in the sea.
It's turned, see it?
Of course.
It's something floating.
Yeah, something
it was a
floating
pointy
about.
end, I thought.
A pointy end.
Fin.
Looks
fin.
like a fin, yes, it's a fin. It is a fin.
It's not a fin, it's something...
Dum, dum, dum,
At first
dum,
I
dum,
thought
dum,
it was a
dum,
fin.
It's gone. It's gone.
There
Where
it is,
did that?
back. No, look.
Where
Look,
did that?
See it? Just going at that wave for a minute. It's gone again.
Hopefully nobody is out there surfboarding then. That's what I'd say. Or else they'll be gone as well.
Right.
At this rate.
What
Yes.
next? What next?
So I was talking about it. That's
It's a flat thing that's
What's-
floating. Look, it's gone further up.
Oh yes, it's gone over there. Yes, I see it.
It's a kind of thing that's... One of the corners keeps popping up so it looks like a fin.
It does. Looks like a fin.
There it is again, and it's gone.
It's gone.
Right.
Yes, so postal strike, fuel getting kind of harder to come across. The co-op has been running out of food as well. None of this is a criticism of anybody, because everybody's trying their best. The co-op's trying their best as well. We appreciate having a co-op. That's our supermarket, and we're glad to have it. That's for sure. But they've had problems, like staffing problems, because there's not as many people living here, and of course they've changed the management. Boat problems, blah blah blah. So, and just as much as Caledonian McBrain, who I work for, has problems with the weather, you know, and all the other things, and Okrani has the problems because of that as well. We've all been struggling. We've been noticing the winter lately, haven't we? We've been feeling more isolated.
Yes, and teachers were on strike the other day.
Teachers, and a serious strike as well coming up. I heard it was 16 days in a row they're going to go on strike. That's like quite serious. The last thing I would say, I read that Arran milk is now cheaper than co-op milk, and that's Arran produced milk, like Arran dairies, I suppose. Right. And that is an interesting one for me. Again, not criticism of the co-op, but wouldn't that be nice if local things started to become more affordable than things from far away because of transport problems and things, and we started to get more island things that actually became more competitive, because that's a good example. Something is more competitive than in a supermarket, and I quite like that, you know, the kind of buying locally thing.
Again, the next thing that would be good would be bread. Local bread being cheaper, because obviously it's more expensive. So again, you know, staple things like milk, I mean vegetables. Yeah. Again, you could get but bread. Yeah.
Bread. Local bread's amazing, isn't it?
Would be.
Woolies is amazing.
Yeah, but again, it's at the moment it's more expensive.
It is more expensive.
So if it became cheaper, there's something else.
Or at least closer together like that, you know. Yeah. Makes it a more viable choice, doesn't it? You know, if it's coming together like that, especially if it's cheaper, you know. Yeah. Okay, we better get on with it. I'll say one last thing. There are Christmas trees up in the villages, and we're in November. What do you think about that, Gordon?
Well, we're nearly end of November, so
we'll let them off.
So we've got 3 weeks.
So they've been up for about a week lately.
Yeah. So I suppose 4 weeks, 4 odd weeks a month is just.
I quite like the lights anyway.
Is acceptable.
The lights are nice.
If they're up in October,
that's too much.
That wouldn't be acceptable.
Yes.
But middle end of November, I suppose, is acceptable.
Okay, we'll let them off
in this day and age.
Right. Okay. I think that's it then. We better get on with it. We're actually kind of putting it off now, just because we know it's windy and cold. So I'll bid yous farewell. We will be taking the opportunity to get out and get in this wind, which is something we enjoy so much once we get going, but actually dread going a little bit just at the beginning before we start. Yeah. And that's just quite natural, but we'll have a great time once we get going. And I'll turn this camera back on when we get to King's Cave. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Ears. Right, we've arrived at King's Cave along a little path, really great path actually, running along from Blackwaterfoot along to here. Got the sea right beside me, you can hear it, and I'll start up this little path. We're going through a long tunnel to get to the cave. Like completely amazing tunnel, I don't know, 20-25 foot high and the same width, and I'm going through it and it's going to sound a bit echoey here now, and it's almost into darkness but not quite, and I'm going through this just to get to the entrance to the cave. That's where Gordon is just now. Right, I've gone through the tunnel now, I'm at the entrance. It's a big metal gate. It's quite spectacular, to be honest. Gordon's just standing in the gate now. Right, here we go. What's that up there?
Spider.
A spider. My God, it's like a massive spider a foot across. Someone's put it up on the top of the gate.
It doesn't look too well.
It doesn't look too well. Right, I've got my torch with me. We're going in. And also, my piece of paper with useless facts and figures about King's Cave. We're going in. I always get nervous going in places like this because I know it's been here for thousands of years, and yet I always think for some reason it's just going to collapse when I'm in it. I'll put my torch on. Torch isn't helping much. I think the thing to do is to go right in the cave, and then I'll just look back towards the entrance. That's what I'll do. It's a flat floored cave, I'll give it that. So people definitely could have been living in here. Although I did read there was an archaeological dig in here, and it revealed almost nothing at all in this cave. Right, how high is it? But oh, there's some more people coming in. There's people living in the cave. There actually are people in here. Hi. 50 feet. Torch isn't helping much, is it? So dark in here. Point up towards the top. 60, 50 feet, something like that. And maybe 100 foot deep. And it keeps going as well once we get going towards the back now. At least 100 foot deep. More than that maybe. And it keeps going. Whoa, and there's a little like tunnely bit going back. Right, we're going into a very small enclosed space at the back of the cave on the right hand side. And Gordon's intrepidly and boldly going where wow, look at that, it just keeps going. A tiny wee slice in the rock.
I think that's an end, isn't it?
I don't know. I can see rock at the back of it. Can we see light at the back of it? I don't know. Don't know. It goes back for ages. See if you look down here, Gordon, where I am. That goes back for ages. Look at that. Like way back. You could crawl up there. Yeah, or possibly me. Well, you might never see me again. That's scary. Glad we've got a torch anyway. Wow, that'd be really interesting though, wouldn't it? Yeah. To go in there. If we knew we were going to survive. Alright. You've got a torch, have you got light? Aye?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
This bit round here's got like a tunnel that just keeps going and going. We can't even see the end of it. So, I'll just point my torch up there for you. It goes away up there, look.
Oh, wow.
And keeps going, you know.
That's all the way in.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't it? It's a boo. Anyway, it's nice to be in here.
Just right for a small person.
Right, here we go, Gordon. So I've got my instant facts and figures.
Right.
Are you wanting to read them?
I've not my glasses.
I'll read them then. That may be best.
Is this about King's Cave?
This is about King's Cave, yes. Right, so it was formed between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago during the Ice Age, when ice squashed the land, and then the land came down, so the sea was buffed in this part of the shore. The land was much lower, about 4 meters lower. And then, when the ice melted, the land bounced back up again and right up above the sea. And that's why we've got a raised shore. And we've got it all the way around, of course, the island. You've seen these raised shores and cliffs and things. And that's what it is. It was the Ice Age squashing it down and then releasing it afterwards when it all melted. So that's how these caves were formed, 6 to 10,000 years ago. The cave used to be used for church meetings in the 18th century, and that is according to Komori Parish church records. Yeah, so I guess they didn't have a Komori Parish church at that point, if they were, did they? It's the 18th century, 1700s, they would have a church then, wouldn't they? Maybe it was just a change of scenery.
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe they weren't allowed in the church. Maybe that was when Bonnie Prince Charlie was roaming about and maybe got banned from. I'm only imagining at this point.
Just guessing there, I think.
But I wanted to mention Bonnie Prince Charlie because that's the reason for the cave is a Robert the Bruce, the King's Cave, because he became King of Scotland, apparently, supposedly, after being in this cave and seeing the spider attempt to build a web over and over again and fail and eventually succeed. And he got inspired by that.
With the old phrase,
What was the old phrase?
if you don't succeed,
Try. That's the old phrase. Hooray! Cheers now. And
but
so
there's supposed to be a few other
there are quite a few other
in
caves.
Scotland where this
There's
is
quite a
supposed
few.
to happen.
There's been a lot of spidering going on, and
Yes.
but this is one of the places where there's been a lot of spidering, and it is disputed But having said that, that's why it's called King's Cave, and that is not for disputes, because we're in it, and that's the name of it. And near the back of this cave are figures of horses carved into the stone, and there's also a deer and several traditional cup and ring marks. And then near the front of the cave, there are several serpents, and also a man with hands clasped above his head. There is also a stone seat that has been carved from the solid rock. There you go. So that's all my useless facts and figures about this cave. So I'm looking for the stone seat at this point, so we can have a wee sit down. Yeah, there's a lot of writing up there, isn't there?
Well, there's a cross.
There's the cross, yes, and that's the wee circly bits, isn't it? There's a lot of carvings in this main central pillar here. We're in the main... Oh, right above our head, Gordon. There's carvings up there, way up high. Like we can't even reach up there.
Right.
See that?
Yeah.
Gosh, high up. How did they get up there?
Ladder?
A ladder. I don't know. Gosh. Right, keep looking, Gordon. We'll go down towards the front and we'll have a look for the stone seat, I think. At least we've got our torches. Oh, don't fall over. Sea's quite noisy. We're down near the front now. It's like a ceiling above our heads, just about 8 foot high, almost flat above us. I don't feel claustrophobic at all in here, and that's a surprise. Such a big cave. I thought I would have felt I was wanting to leave it the whole time, but I'm not feeling like that. I'm actually quite enjoying being in here. It's just because it's so massive. And such an amazing, completely flat floor, right throughout its length. You really could live here, couldn't you? It's actually completely still as well, it's windless. Imagine if you had a wee fire in here. I'm quite warm.
Dates, but
See dates?
what's that?
What's that there?
Legal date, is that 1060?
It looks like
1078?
1078, but I don't know. Oh, there's the wee square things. Little square carvings.
I don't know what's original and what's just people.
Difficult. There are a few carvings on here of initials and things. People's initials have been carved on here. And that's the reason for the gate, of course. Because sadly, it's not only the olden days markings in here, but there are some more modern attempts as well. Anyway, it's quite amazing, isn't it? The shine a torch over here. There's that little handprint in there. Some more markings. There's circles there. Lots of circles. See them?
They look more.
Need a better torch, really, I think. That's what it is. Quite something. Wonder if smoke would come out the front if you had a fire lit, I suppose. It might come out the ceiling. Can't really tell. Anyway, there we go. We'll go back towards the entrance. Just get a shot out the front again. And that'll do us, I think. Long time since I've been here. Really enjoyed it, to be honest. Back out looking at the sea again. And the view right across to the mainland. A little blue patch of sky over there. The little tunnel that we came through. What do you think, Gordon?
Great.
Good to come here, wasn't it?
Not had a closer look before.
Yeah.
I've been in.
Not really had a torch. I've never
Yeah,
had a
I
torch.
haven't had a torch.
It's nice to be in there. I'm going to come back again. Maybe try and bring a much more powerful torch. That's great. Okay, I'll sign off there then. Another rave run completed. Well, halfway around. Well,
We've not even done a
we've
quarter
got to our
yet.
destination, no.
Quarter
That's amazing.
maybe.
We've still got more to do.
Yeah.
But that's all easy. At least we've achieved our goal. Okay. It's goodbye from Gordon, and it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.